Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Super Sports Central. So today it came out USC and UCLA are going to be joining the Big Ten in 2024. We're going to be going over my thoughts on that, what it means for the future of the Pac-12, winners and losers of that move. So it all happened very quickly. USC and UCLA are officially joining the Big Ten. Well, first it came out they were looking to join the Big Ten. And then not even an hour later, a deal was essentially in place, and it was just going to be made official with an official announcement later. And now an official announcement has been made. The LA schools will be joining the Big Ten in 2024 before the start of the college football season. I believe the exact date is exactly 2 years from today, June 30th, 2024. So this is a big loss to the Pac-12 losing some of their top schools. They still have Oregon, Utah, and Washington, but it also came out today that the Big 12 could be looking to expand and add some of those Pac-12 schools. Specifically Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, and Colorado. And remember, the Big 12 is losing Oklahoma and Texas to the SEC in 2025. So if they're able to replace Oklahoma and Texas with these 4 Pac-12 teams plus the other teams they're adding, which are BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF, then they could potentially be good enough to continue to be a power conference. And now for the Pac-12, if they lose the Arizona schools, Utah, and Colorado to the Big 12, they would only have half their teams left. They'd have 6 teams. Those would be Oregon, Washington, Washington State, Oregon State, Cal, and Stanford. And that's just not enough to be a conference. They could add other schools. I don't think the other schools would be good enough to make them a power conference, which I'll get to more in a minute. And personally, if it's just those 6 teams left, I think Oregon and maybe even Washington is out. I think Oregon would definitely join another conference because they're a good school with a good football team that could potentially even make the playoff, and they're not going to want to be in a bad conference like the Pac-12. So super conferences are likely the future of college football because the Big Ten would now have 16 teams in 2024 and could potentially even expand further. And the SEC would also have 16 teams in 2025 once Oklahoma and Texas join. So the Pac-12 would be nothing unless they could add some other schools, but it definitely wouldn't be a Power 5 conference. Maybe instead of having Power 5, we'd see more of a Power 4 or Power 3. So the SEC and the Big Ten are already the top 2 conferences. And then you have the Big 12 and the ACC, which I'll get to more in a second. So winners and losers of this move. The Big Ten is a big winner. They're becoming even more of a super conference, adding 2 really big market teams. So I know the LA schools aren't great, but USC is on the rise after having Caleb Williams transfer and hiring Lincoln Riley. And UCLA is a decent team. Another winner is the Big 12. They have the opportunity to take some remaining Pac-12 teams, as I mentioned before, once they lose Oklahoma and Texas, and still make the Big 12 good, because Utah's been good. Arizona State's been okay. I mean, I know Arizona hasn't been good, and Colorado's kind of been like, they exist, but they haven't been good or bad. And this is a massive loss for the Pac-12. They're losing 2 of their big market schools. I know UCLA hasn't been great, but USC's on the rise, and it's a very big market in Los Angeles. So the Pac-12 will definitely not be a Power 5 conference anymore unless they can replace it with, like, really, really good schools. So I think they're going to lose Oregon, as I said before. And, I mean, geographically, there's other schools that can replace them. But, I mean, conferences are moving away from geographic location. Because now you have the Big Ten, who has Rutgers on the East Coast. Now you have the LA schools on the West Coast. Plus you have a whole bunch of schools like the Michigan schools, Ohio State, all of them in the Midwest. So it's like the Pac-12 could add Colorado State, Fresno State, and Boise State. But are those 3 enough to keep the Pac-12 relevant, let alone a Power 5 conference? I think the Pac-12... Once 2024 comes, the Pac-12 will not be a Power 5 conference. We will see a Power 4. So, my thoughts, the Big Ten has become more powerful. And the SEC, it is the Big Ten and the SEC is the 2 powerhouses right now. The Big 12 and the ACC are still good, but they don't have the firepower to compete with the Big Ten and the SEC. But I still think they're going to be known as power conferences come 2024. So let me know your thoughts of UCLA and USC joining the Big Ten. I think it's going to start the decline of the Pac-12, and the Pac-12 will no longer be a Power 5 conference. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. I do my best to post as often as possible, and I will see you in the next video.